What's up, brother? Malachi here. And in this video, I want to talk about how I believe you can become the best version of yourself. Because chances are, if you clicked on this video, you're a lot like me in terms of like whenever you have a goal, you don't let anything stop you from being able to achieve it. You will learn everything that you possibly can about the subject so that you can continue to succeed within your endeavor. But there's still that resistance that you don't really understand where it comes from as you continue to pursue this goal. And what it does is it's like you start taking some steps forward and then you end up taking 3 steps back. And it continuously puts you in this cycle of you being able to start creating the reality that you want, but then bringing yourself back down into the one that you're trying to escape. And it's taken a lot of work for me to be able to get to a point where I feel like I can confidently talk about this because whenever I first started kind of on my journey of like becoming the version of me that I am today, it really started with football. And football really just kind of distracted me to a point where it's just like, if I don't perform the best that I possibly can, I'm going to get put on my ass by somebody else. So it forced me to put myself in a position that no matter what, no matter how I felt, I had to show up and I had to show out. And I had to continuously show up and be the best version of myself. It wasn't until football got taken away from me because I've had multiple shoulder surgeries and it was just not a smart idea for me to continue playing sports. Essentially, was what my doctor told me at the time. So I transferred schools and I essentially had to find out who I was without football. And I noticed this pattern continuously show up with my life within my lifetime and time again. And because of it, it started causing me to look into getting mentors to be able to help me overcome these things. And there was one mentor specifically that taught me essentially about the importance of being able to level up your identity if you truly want to make any type of big shift within your life. And the crazy thing is, whenever I was working with this mentor specifically, the key part of the message didn't connect with me because I was at a level of consciousness that was below what it needed to be to truly accept this information as truth. And so what I would do is I would obsess over every tactic that I can find. I would watch every how-to video that was on the internet, and I would just spend all of my time just trying to figure out how I can control the external. And every time I would get on a call with him, he's like, dude, you know way too much for you not to be able to be where you want to be. And it would just rack my brain because he would tell me that for me to be able to get there, I had to level up my identity. I had to do the internal work that I was avoiding. And because that was the biggest fear for me, I never wanted to do it. And so I would just drown myself in information and then I would just continuously live out this cycle. And it wasn't until 2 years later when me and him stopped working together. And I got into a point where I was just so fed up with living out the same exact existence that I began to listen to his advice. I started listening to my internal self, working through the dark secrets that were hiding in the closets or whatever the heck you want to call it of the old experiences that I went through that was keeping me stuck, that kept me limited. And what I found out from it is essentially what I based my entire principle or core standard that I live my entire life by, and that's reality directing. It's being able to become the version of you that can direct their reality into any way that you want it to be. And so in this video, what I want to do is talk about what that inner resistance is and how you can remove it so that you can achieve the things that you want to achieve and it doesn't feel as if you're fighting against yourself. And so the first thing I want to touch on within this is there is a quote by Bob Proctor that says, the reason why we cannot heal is because we're so attached to the scars of our past. And so whenever I heard that quote and I try to apply it into business or just within to my life specifically so I can take that and use it in a practical way to be able to move me forward, it was essentially telling myself that by me not being willing to give up the mask that I was currently wearing to be able to achieve something greater, I was limiting myself in the things that I could actually accomplish. And another way to be able to explain this is whenever we watch a movie or we read a novel, there's always this part within the story where the main character goes through what is called a death and rebirth, which is essentially they've already started their journey to be able to achieve their external desire that they're going after, but they still hold on to the old identity or this small piece of them that keeps them stuck, this small anchor within their personality that is stopping them from truly being able to fully commit themselves or truly become the version of them that can accomplish the thing. And then what happens is they go through an event that is so impactful that it shakes their identity to a point to where they raise their level of consciousness to one that allows them to step into their true essence and be able to see the entire field and come up with a plan that essentially helps them be able to accomplish their main goal, right? And this is an important fact because whenever you pursue a goal, life will test you. There's always three stages in you becoming the version of you that you want to be, right? There's the beginning where you may have some beginner's luck, you get tested, and then you achieve the thing. And that test, so what it does is that's the thing that you must overcome to become the version of you that you need to be. And another thing that I want to kind of touch on here before I forget it is within, I believe it was Newton's law of motion or whatever, whoever created the laws of motion, the first rule is that an object that stands still, English, the object that is not moving will not move until you apply some pressure from some external thing. And whenever you are trying to change everything externally, but you're not trying to change it internally, it will continuously leave an anchor within inside of you because your identity is the core thing that drives everything. So you can start moving towards something, but if your identity does not have something hit it to where it has to switch or change or go through an impactful event that raises its level of consciousness, like it will continuously pull you back to where you are. So that's why that loop continues, because you try and change the entire external world without changing your internal, but your internal dictates your external. So you can try and change everything out, but until you change what's going on within, nothing will truly change. And when I say change, I mean like permanently move into a new degree or a new level of consciousness. And so the main thing that I work with a ton of my clients on is like, yes, being able to get in shape is the main goal, but you've tried to get in shape in the past. You have been on different workout programs, you've been on different diets, and then you always give up on them. And that's because you're trying to figure out the perfect external thing, but you're not leveling up who you are internally. If internally you believe you're somebody that does not go to the gym, that does not eat healthy, no matter how many times you try and force yourself to eat broccoli, you're going to eventually be like, all right, I'm done eating broccoli. And so what we do is we essentially take your brain and we rewire it to become the version of you that can become the version that you need to be. And so for me to explain this, one of the things that we do is essentially called the align and design process, which is where first thing in the morning, whenever you have your brain in theta state where it's most suggestible, you immediately read a script on the reality that you want to create, on the version of you that you want to show up to this world as. And in the script, it talks about your 6 months goals, your a year goal, your 10-year goal. You have how you walk, how you talk, how you dress, why you do literally everything. And what it's doing is it's making you become aware of how you want to show up. Because the way I define identity is the version of you that you're most aware of being. And so when your brain is in theta state and it's most suggestible, what you're able to do is you're able to imprint the script that you read every single morning into your subconscious, and it goes straight into your subconscious, and that is pretty much the operating system for how you show up within the world. And so if you can attune the operating system to continuously take actions from the higher version of you, then getting in shape becomes easier, then building the business becomes easier, then getting the girl becomes easier, being better at your sport becomes easier, because now it all aligns with the version of you that you believe you are. And so I say this all the time, but your identity dictates your paradigm dictates your thoughts and feelings dictate your actions dictate your habits, and your habits dictate your life. And so by us changing your identity first and then allowing that to change the way that you show up within the rest of the process, then it allows you to take all of that information that you've learned from trying to master all of the external and then really be able to go 100% into it instead of maybe 10% into that and then the other 90% of you is too attached to the current version of you. The biggest thing that I always say is when you shift the character, you shift the outcome. And so when you are not so attached to who you are that you allow yourself to go through this shift, to allow yourself to challenge yourself and put yourself into uncomfortable situations that force you to level up your identity, then everything else starts to fall into place because you already know what to do. You have done it. You have watched the videos. You have built the person, but you are not allowing yourself to achieve it. And that's the thing that keeps you stuck because you've been through so many different experiences and you learned so many lessons that can help you be able to make the impact that you want to make in whatever arena it is. You have to be able to give yourself permission to do it if you truly want to do it, because you don't raise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity. And so that's the thing. When you change your identity and you raise it to where it needs to be, then and only then are you able to tap into the highest version of yourself. And so that's why I wanted to make this video, because it's been on my mind a lot recently. And if this is something that connects with you and you want to learn more about it, or you really just want a worksheet that can help you be able to dictate who you currently are, who you want to be, or who you need to be able to have the impact that you want to make, and you literally just want an exercise to be able to walk you through it so that you can create your own script that you read every morning, then just message me script on Instagram and I'll send it over to you. I'll send over a document that breaks this entire thing down and how you can do it yourself so that you can start reprogramming your mind to be able to get there. My entire purpose of me creating content, or just my existence at this point, is really being able to help men unlock versions of them that they have kept hidden from the world, because that version of you that you are afraid to let out, or that there's some type of resistance that stops you from really being able to tap into, is the thing that you need to be able to express or access if you truly want to make the impact that you want to make on this world. And so I want to be able to help you do that. And so if you want my help with it, when you either just want to chat about like maybe some unconscious blocks that are holding you back, or if you want the document that I was talking about, message me script on Instagram. I respond to all of my DMs and we'll chat there. All right.